Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful day it is. It's Friday and it's time for episode 4 of I've done it again. Let's talk about creativity. Whoa, I'm so excited today. But before we do that, let's have some music. Hello. So, for anybody who just didn't see the first minute or so, I'm Sam. I'm a children's creative counsellor, and this is my series, Let's Talk About Creativity. And today is episode 4, and I'm so excited for my next special guest. She is a hypnotherapist and an eye integral movement practitioner. What a mouthful that is. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about creative thinking with her. Something that is real interesting to me, and I am so excited. So let's bring her on. Welcome, Neena.
Good morning, Sam. Like those moves straight away, a bit of a shoulder shuffle. Let's get the cobwebs going.
Of course, you need to move, don't you?
You do.
Perfect to move. So welcome, Neena. It's lovely to see you, and thank you for being my guest today on Let's Talk About Creativity.
Thank you for inviting me, Sam. Thank you for inviting me.
You are so welcome. You're going to be talking about creative thinking, but before we jump into that, just a little bit about who you are, what your background is, would be great to hear.
Okay, so my name is Neena Rainey. I'm a hypnotherapist, but certainly not your run-of-the-mill hypnotherapy. You'll certainly agree with that one, wouldn't you, Sam?
Yes.
I am also an integral eye movement therapist practitioner, which is, you're right, Sam, it is a bit of a mouthful. But basically, that just means that when you talk to me, I don't just listen with my ears. I listen with my eye and watch everything that you say, all the cues. And it gives me a much better ability to understand what you're trying to say to me. So something might come out of your mouth, but that's not exactly what your face is telling me. I do a lot of conscious conversation. I do it my way, which is certainly a different way. I run retreats for worn-out women. We've just finished a wonderful retreat for domestic abuse survivors. We've got another one coming up in August that just has 3 tickets left. So that's the pun done right at the beginning. We know for a fact. Poor salesman, brilliant therapist, but just a poor salesman. There's only 3 tickets left. It's a wonderful retreat. It must be, because at least 8 of the people there's only 16 places, and half of them have rebooked from last year. One of them being yourself, Sam. So that's about it, really. I help people with anything from the worst aspects of life, such as trauma, PTSD, to wonderful things such as performance enhancement. Certainly that aspect of being the best version and reaching your true potential with, and this is the big one, the big plug, love, tons of laughter, and life experience.
Wonderful.
That's me. There's a lot of dark bits, but we'll not go into the shadows on the first one, Sam?
Thank you for your introduction, Neena.
Thank you.
If I kind of go back to when I first met you, was a real kind of interesting time for me. So last July it was, and I was introduced to you through one of my friends, Fiona Green. Hi, if you're watching, Fiona. Oh, just let me say that if you're watching it live, say hello, and if you're watching it on replay, say #replay. Thank you for that. Back to how I met you. So I've been invited to your very first retreat last July, the alpaca experience, and oh my goodness me, what an experience was that. But do you remember the first moment you met me and how I reacted?
Purely because this is children may be watching this, I do have a certain phrase that involves a donkey that has loose bowels, but you were shaking like a loose bowel donkey. is all I can say. You were like a rabbit in headland, and you really were. You didn't want to be there. But I think on that first initial, I came and met you over, you got a little white car. I came and met you, gave you a hug, and I think the rest is history.
Absolutely. There was an immediate connection. You were so like warm. You came and welcomed me, even though there was a circle of ladies. I can feel my anxiety now just going back to that moment. It's just all
But
of a
we now
sudden
know,
just come
Sam, what
from
do we do with it?
nowhere.
We put the anxiety down. Come on, we've worked through this one.
I never expected that to happen today.
No, there you go. There you go. It's there. It's triggers. It's triggers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so there was a huge circle of ladies already there because I'd got lost, which another thing that happens to me when I get anxious, I get lost. I got Fiona in the car. We were trying to work out how to get there, and I was just getting more and more anxious and nervous. So by the time I arrived, there was relief that I'd got there, but also that kind of, I'm not ready to step into this circle. I'm not ready to join these people. I don't know anybody. And it really was a real uncomfortable feeling. But you helped me and made me feel so comfortable and warm. And as I said, that initial connection, as you said, the rest is history. I mean, you know, that is where I started. That is where I met you. And so much has happened since then, up until like today, where we're like talking together on my series, and it just feels just a wonderful kind of journey.
But you
that
see
I've
that
gone
from
through
from
so
that
far.
moment, which is ironically almost a year ago, Sam, you have grown, you have stretched, you have come out of the comfort zone. And that's my job. You know, people say, can you help? It's like, will you, can you? No, I don't do anything. I show you how you can. That is the big difference.
Absolutely. So from the retreat experience, I mean, so it was just amazing. I mean, alpacas, oh my goodness, alpacas, they have their own way of creating calmness, don't they? It was
They
just,
do. They do.
I was so impressed, and just, yeah, I do have like some kind of scare with animals, especially large animals like alpacas, but they're so gentle.
Hmm.
If they
It's all
sense
about
you,
perception, Sam. It's all about perception. You know, if you go in
yeah,
there with an open heart, if you drop all yours, if you surrender and just say, come on, I just need a little bit of this now, and you allow that. But we don't, including myself, we don't do that. But when we do, oh my God, all that awaits you.
yeah.
There's plenty. You've still got a lot more to come yet, Sam.
Oh, I know. This is just the start of it all.
Tip
Who
of
would
the
have
iceberg.
thought? Absolutely. So I'm just going to do a bit of plugging for you with the retreat and just my
Okay.
kind of a little mini review, really. So it was just so beautiful. I mean, I cried just about all weekend, but I released so much as well. So walking in to the moment, in the moment where I was just so anxious, wasn't in the present moment, was in the past, allowed so much to trigger me, being surrounded by so many beautiful women and beautiful souls that understood me, got me, supported me, gave me what I needed, helped me believe in myself, I walked away from the retreat a different person. And that is no lie. That is so true.
But we did that together. And this is the importance. We did it together. We all did it together each time. From the one that we had in May, I gained so much. You know, the therapists that I choose to work with, I never say, oh, they're mine. Nobody belongs to anybody. They have their own individuality. The reflexologist, the Indian head massage, the meditation. Each one of those has been cherry picked because we work so well together. And I think that reflects on, I hope it will, well, I know it will reflect in August as well. So get your tickets. You're all right there. You're all right, Jack. I'm all right, Jack. But you three other people who want there, it's your time. And, you know, you'll be surprised because we don't always sit and listen. We can't always see. And then all of a sudden we'll think, you know what, if I taste that, and once you've tasted that, and you've had that silence where you're allowed to sit and just be when nobody wants anything from you, you get quite addicted to it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing for me as well was I found my voice. I've not
Mm-hmm.
been listened or heard. I've gone through trauma. And I don't share this very often publicly. So, and I feel okay to say that I went through childhood trauma, and it also went into adulthood through careers. It wasn't just in my personal life, it was careers as well. And I feel that even though I've done lots of therapy, to be, yourself, Neena, don't you? To be a therapist, you have to go through your own personal therapy.
You don't have to. You don't have to, Sam. I mean, there'll be plenty of people out there that've got PhDs and have had the most perfect of perfect lives. But it's very important to me, and it's very important to the people that I attract and work with, that life experience is in there. And when you can laugh in the face of adversity and you have had experiences, like my story is my story. My heartache is my heartache. But when you've experienced that, you then suddenly are given this, well, actually, that's not true. Not everybody. Some people go through life and they become victims and they take it out on others. It's what we try to do. And one of the philosophies I learned quite soon after doing this work and qualifying in what I do, and I do it well, I'll say that, because nobody likes to show off, but I don't bloody care. Sorry, children, all the children listening. But to stand up and say, like yourself, to have that voice and say, I am good at what I do, gives others confidence. So, why shouldn't we stand up and say, it is time to do that. It is time to, I've had it explained to me on several occasions that little bit of selfish, or is it self-care, because we get lost in the narratives of others, and this is going back, me being so good and back on spot, going back to the creativity. Let's pull it back and not make it all about you and me, Sam. Although it is all about you and me. That time to allow your mind to be creative. Sometimes we've actually lost that in childhood. But if we take wisdom from every adverse, and that could be queuing behind somebody in Asda that's lost the plot and is throwing spitting the teddy out. Who are we to stand and judge that they've just not lost a loved one? They haven't got 2 pennies to scratch the backside with. They are in the deepest, darkest hole and they can't find themselves out. Don't get me wrong. People say, oh, you're such a good person. I put my hand up and say, I have dark thoughts. Many I could possibly be convicted for. But I choose not to let them take priority over the better person that I could be. And this is all about, I think we all try the best we can in the time that we can when we're in that space to be. And we sit and judge about how we've acted, how we could have acted, and we have people telling us we should be this, that, the other. We're on this now. We're on this platform of social media where and once again, Sam, you've seen me at my roughest. I've actually put makeup on for this. And this isn't just vanity for this. I'm going off to have a day with my very best friend in York after this. And I will put my hand up and say, yeah, I deserve it. But we don't. We say, oh, well, and then we start throwing it all back out there. And I think then going back to creativity, when we lose ourselves in our own head, in our own subconscious mind, and that's something that I deal massively with, the conscious, which is what the outside, oh, well, this is how we can do this and this is. And then inside that's going, but are you doing that? Are you doing that really with a good heart? Or do you resent it a little bit? Oh, I think you resent it a little bit. And if we allow our mind to rest, we've spoken, we speak a lot about creativity, Sam, because it's something that we hold very, very dear to ourselves.
Definitely.
It's a fantastic and phenomenal way of losing and healing within here. So that's my cue. This is come on, let's get it going. Let's come back on. It's got too deep and too heavy, Sam. Come on. I found myself railroading.
No, go for it. And that's what I like about these episodes is there's no structure with it. It's very kind of just having a chat and just finding out a little bit more about each other almost. I mean, I know we know each other quite well. You did become my therapist as well, which I am deeply grateful for, because again, it just shedded another layer of my skin that was needed at that time.
As I've said, Sam, we are all like onions. We've got that horrible dry bit on the outside, that really thick one that's the hard one, the hardest one to get through. But the sweetest part of an onion is that tiny little bit right in the very centre. But it's in the centre for a reason. It's the tiniest bit because it's the sweetest, it's the nicest piece. But if we dare to share, that's the new one. This is what I've learnt since yesterday. Let's dare to share.
Dare to share.
Dare.
Tell me what you mean by that, Neena.
dare to share. So we all have within our own creativity, almost like, well, I do, and I know you do, and I know a lot of people do. We have this almost like a parallel universe where we are allowed just to be. And then we enter into social expectations, family expectations. You know, we all know, we've spoken about can't remember what was it, the art shame, Sam? We had a little discussion about art shame.
Yes.
Your child brings something back from school, and having been the proud and sometimes not so proud, not owner, I've helped advance 7 children through this world. 2 I gave birth to, my own biological children, Adam and Tara. 3 stepchildren, Gemma, Liz and Anna. They were my second husband's children, daughters. And then just to get the full set and the certificate on the wall, Jack and Grace, who we used to do emergency short-term fostering, and we got them at 2 weeks old, £3 little skinned rabbits, who will be 18 in January and have brought such joy and heartache. So the spectrum of children is something, again, that we share very close. Yeah. I spent 15 years working with children and I used to down it as a childminder. I worked in a kids' hospital until I got stabbed by a dirty needle, and then decided I had to readdress my career, and started looking after all the nurses' kids, because nobody wants to look after a child at 6 o'clock in the morning or 10:30 at night. Built a phenomenal business from that, which included my husband, a wonderful girl that worked for me for 15 years. But even then, I did not recognize what these children were teaching me. The depth and the wisdom and the innocence and the lack of judgment. You know, something as simple, and once again, things that we spoke about. You'd sit and colour with a child because that was okay, because I was getting paid this phenomenal amount of £4.20 an hour. Whoa! Which is why we filled the house with an abundance of children, and it worked a lot better. And they taught me a lot. They let me engage with my childlike behaviour that I had not necessarily had when I was a child. And I think there are a lot of us as adults that we grow up too quickly. We are given responsibilities as a child, and we miss those little pockets of it. And then that can manifest itself later down the line, where we want it, or we feel guilty for sitting down and colouring in.
Yeah.
But as I said to you, even now, at the grand old age of 59 next month, I cannot colour in the lines. But that reflects my life. I cannot stay in the boundaries. Can I, Sam? I think outside the box. And whereas before, I used to think that was a bad thing, I absolutely love it. I adore it. You know, art. I look at art and I look at artists that, whilst I can appreciate a painting that looks like an absolute picture, as in, how the hell could you produce that? It's so perfect. I will appreciate something that somebody has taken from Lord knows where, that means nothing to some, but so much to others. But they've created that, and that can then extend to sculpture, to pottery, to anything that we can create. We create it in our own mind. And if we can give one other person pleasure from that, once again, it's almost like a symbiotic. You get me. You get me. You get that. I work a lot at the moment due to the pandemic. I've got a lot of teenagers that have lost 2 years where they don't know where they belong. They don't know how to communicate properly anymore. They don't know how to relate their emotions anymore. That can manifest itself in many different ways. But we go back to basics. I've had one girl that sat for 6 weeks and did not talk to me. Didn't bother me. Just to be sitting with somebody who didn't ask anything of her. And then each week, I put pencils down. I put colours down. You get this. I sat playing with a piece of Play-Doh. I know, because if it worked for me, it must work for somebody else. And in week 6, it absolutely blew me away. She drew the most phenomenal picture that told me absolutely everything that was in her head in that one picture. She didn't have to talk to me. No. She didn't have to talk to me. It's an expression. You know, creativity is an expression. And that could be our child goes into a sandpit, sits and pounds it. I don't have to tell you, oh, I'm angry. Or something where it's just gentler. It's a gentler action, a repetitive. All of these things, if we take the time to sit and watch how somebody is trying to communicate, and creativity, I think, is the most innocent form of communication. I really, truly do. But it's taken me a long while to go back into that phase of creativity. And I think it's not only a very healing place, it's somewhere where we can create. It's quite an innovative place where we can create, literally create anything.
Absolutely. It takes me to very much kind of that mindfulness, and sometimes it can be that hypnotic stage as well, where
absolutely, it's flow state.
That moment.
It's like we were saying, when you go into flow state and the dopamine starts coming, you're so engrossed, you don't care. It could be anything such as a simple brush stroke, getting a piece of the tactileness of a piece of clay, feeling that. Sorry about that. There's a dog under the table that's getting really into the. You didn't hear that, but I did. I just didn't want you to think it was one of my bodily sounds. I'm afraid when we are releasing all these wonderful energies and chemicals, I do have a dog that sits in here and sits and soaks it all up, as you know, Sam.
I do.
Expressing her own creativity in her own way.
That's wonderful that she's joining it.
Is it really? Is it really?
Yes, of course it is.
Sadly, I shouldn't have had to justify it, and I should have just sat there having people, all the millions of people watching us now thinking, oh my God, did this woman actually break wind publicly? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Maybe there's no dog there. Maybe it's a creative, fictitious thing in my mind.
But that's only for you to know. No,
absolutely.
So, talking about creativity, I've noticed that mine's changed because I had a block for absolute years. I always saw creativity, as you said, the art shame. Mm-hmm. I took it back to being in high school, middle school, not being able to paint, really struggling with it all. But when I've started to reflected through therapy and other kind of real kind of meditation times.
But what is it? Is it the judgment of others? Right. So just bear me with 1 minute.
Okay.
So at 58, should a woman of 58 contain or have this Never Hide Your Wings? It is a book that I picked up somewhere. I think we went to get the dog mated in Kendal, and there was a Nepalese festival, that kind of thing, how it goes, Sam.
Yes.
And these are all parchment. But this book was such a thing of beauty, right? all right, I can draw a picture, but it's the same pictures over and over again, which is also all right. So I will share. That's a tree. Okay? I sat, and my husband came in and said, what are you doing? And I'm colouring in. And he went, oh, all right. What time's tea? I went, I don't know. When I finish colouring in.
Yeah.
These are the boundaries that you then set. And then I made it, and I haven't, and looking at this now, it's a reality check for me. That's nothing. That's nothing, but that made me feel really good, right? Because I love the colours. I'm sharing it with you, which every now and again, you know and I know, one day that door might be open. But all of these things are engaged with our subconscious mind, and we should share. So I've just dared to share. And that's a big circular of coming back to what we started off, which is quite a new habit of finishing something that I started. Yeah, I know, Sam, yes. It's out there.
I was just thinking that I just want to share with everybody that while I've known Neena, I was aware, but I know that she's kept this really private. So I just want to give you that.
Wait, Sam. Wait, what are you going to tell people?
Oh, no.
What are you going to tell people, Sam? We've just got them on side, Sam. Don't blow it. I still have a responsible job.
I'm not going to share anything that you don't want
you
me
can
to share.
Share away. Dare to share.
Okay.
Dare to share.
Okay. So, Neena did share that with me, but, confidentiality is really important with our jobs, but also as a person as well, that integrity is so important. So I've kept it kind of, this is Neena's stuff, this is not mine.
But for me to share that with you, that would encourage you to do just that.
Yes. what I wanted to share is in my notebook. It's downstairs, but I have got something else that I'm going to share instead. Bear with me a minute.
Make sure it's legal.
It's certainly legal.
Make sure it's legal and clean.
Neena, it's certainly legal. Okay, so you are very aware of this, but this is something that I've not really shared. And I think a lot of it is, like you said, it's about judgments of other people, your own self-worth. And actually, did I actually do this? And I'm not going to swear. I'm not really a swearer.
Terrible habit.
I'm not really a swearer.
No.
But inside me, I can feel it because this is so important to me. And I've not really shared it. In fact, when I did this last year, September last year, it took so much effort, energy, that I was just so exhausted afterwards. And then I shared it with a few people in groups where it felt okay and safe, because safety is a huge thing for me. But I haven't really shared it like this. So are you ready, Neena? You
Dare to share. Right, first of all, claim it. Dare to share. Excellent. Now I'm safe. Dare to share.
Okay, so September last year. Oh, I'm trying to work it out. Okay, can you see it the right way? Because everything's always back to front. So this is the book collaboration that I was involved with last year with 19 other women, and we all told our stories. And mine is about self-discovery, and it was an amazing experience. It feels pretty incredible sharing, Neena.
To dare to share. One day, Sam, one day a week, one day every day, one day every week. You must scare yourself. That's to dare. It makes you feel alive.
Yes, definitely. It really does. And I've been sharing by doing these episodes because I'm talking, and like everybody I've spoken to, you know, I've got a connection. I know them in different ways, but you never know what's going to come up. You know, as I said, it's very informal. There's no structure as such. Why do we need structure? Structure is too much of life. So let's be spontaneous.
Part of it is sometimes we do need structure, Sam. I've been told by my daughter Tara that I need structure in my life on a regular basis.
Hi Tara, if you're watching.
We would have chaos. Now chaos is good too, but structure is also good. So why don't we have a balance? And it's like that thing within creativity. This is why you are a creative counsellor, because that place where you can go is inside where there are no boundaries, there are no limits.
Yes.
There's not somebody coming in and saying, right, I want to paint this wall. You're not an interior decorator in a hotel chain. You don't have to paint all the walls lilac. It's that expression. And when we express, we feel.
Yes.
We used to do something with the kids, and we've acquired a fair few, as I've said. And it always used to happen either when we were waiting. So we were waiting in a restaurant to be fed, we were waiting at an airport, we were just waiting, or we were having a nice drink somewhere and the kids were fed up. And I always walk around with a notebook, and I would I'd divide it into 4 or 7 or however many kids we had, and each child would have a square, and then I would just draw a squiggle, and in turn we would all have to interpret that, and we would mark it. It caused many an argument, not quite getting kicked out of a pub, but not far short, right? But what your interpretation of that 3 lines in a square, maybe somebody's completely different. But to be allowed to say, this is your square, I want you to create. But then in the same vein, 2 people that would be at loggerheads, 2 of the kids, the youngest and the eldest, should get, I get that. I could see where you were coming from with that one. And I thought, I've invented that. And then through my training and my research, apparently it's called a tolerance test, a tolerance test of creative thinking. I thought, does that mean because you want to sit there until you can do it? Because the other end of the spectrum is my husband, who's an accountant, who has such a phenomenal, methodical, logical sense of thinking that for me to say, can you think outside the box? He'd have a nervous breakdown and probably have to find new underwear to think outside the box. He's very linear in his thought patterns, which is really good for both of us. If we can say, we don't try and step into each other's world, stay in your lane. But it's by somebody called Ellis Paul Tolerance. And it was just to see. Now, who's to say we could sit there in there, and some of the kids were more creative than the others, but some of us would just say, one of them, and it was usually Dave, my husband, would say, I don't like this game. And then all of a sudden one day he created this camel.
Wow.
Camel, no, yeah, it was very much a wow. And it brought much merriment to the family. But that was in his interpretation. So I'm a big believer in, who are we to judge somebody else's creativity?
Absolutely.
And we shouldn't.
No.
And what's held you back from there is you have literally, I've read that book, I've got that book, I have, but it's twofold. The first fold is, what happens if somebody else doesn't like it? Bit like life, really.
Yeah, of course.
Why would anybody like the fact that me and you were talking what doesn't appeal to them? That's none of our business.
No.
There will be people out there that get us. And they're all the people that we really want to interest in. And we spend all this time trying to convert all the people to like us and to like what we do. And that will actually absolutely stop our creativity. I'll dare to share another one with you. There are 3 books under my bed that I've written, like you. Daren't publish them. What would people think? Oh, God, can't put that in a book. What would people think? Perhaps one day I'll dare to share the next step, because I've now outed myself, and I will send it to a publisher, and maybe 3 people would like what I've written. Maybe nobody would. Mm-hmm. But it's not my business, really. I've written that, and now I write as much as I can, and I think this is about journaling as well, which is another fantastic, phenomenal way to express creativity.
Yes.
That journal is purely for us. If we write for us, it's in alignment with who we are. I've got a book in my cupboard under lock and key. I'm going to put it on my desk, actually, after we've finished it. It said, things that cannot be said out loud. I think the opening line is, why do people think they're doing you a favour when in reality you want to hit them in the face with a very heavy frying pan?
Good job we're on a screen then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But just to write that one line gave me such release.
Yeah.
And these are my words. Colours, play, all of these things, particularly with what you do with young children, where we haven't, as a society, as a race, sucked all the creativity quite out of them. We start young. We start them young. What's that? You don't ask what it is. It's like, well, don't like that to me. Well, that's wonderful. It could be one blob. It could be one splodge. But once again, with my own experience, I would love to have gone to art college. But apparently it was more important that I read maps. So I did geography A-level. I can't read a bloody map. Sorry. I can't read a map to save my life. Do apologise for all the nice people out there. I can't read a map. I don't know whether or not that's just an actual lack of map reading or my own reluctance to say no. I wanted to go to art college.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whatever is in there within the creativity realm, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Creativity, as I sit out here, I love my garden.
It's beautiful.
When my husband, who is very linear thinking, edges the borders, that's his form of creativity. To see something that gives what is creativity? What's the definition? I won't want to say, because his definition is completely different to mine, which is different to yours, which is different to the now 14 million people that are listening to us, Sam.
Yes, definitely so. I don't know where they're from, but there you go.
We don't know. They are all part of our creative imagination.
Absolutely. So what you've been talking about, it brings me to like the young people that I work with, because I work with children and young people from 6 up to 19, and what kind of comes across, and it seems to be quite common, if that feels the right word, that young people will say that they almost that they're not good enough, they can't draw, and these young people, when I speak to the parent or the carer, that initial kind of conversation, they'll say, oh, they're great at art, they're great at drawing, things like that. And then they come in my space, in that real kind of confidential safe space. And then they say they're not able to. So we take all that away, and very much like you said, we go right to the beginning and we doodle. And doodle is so powerful, because very much like, you know, the games that you played with your children at the airport, I do that with my clients. And there's been some incredible, and they'll go, oh, I can't draw this. And then the next minute they're like that, oh, I'll draw a house or whatever, you know, and then before they know it, they've told a story. And it's
absolutely. So if I say to you then out here, and you may know, you may not know, and it's something that does interest me, and it's something that I do, because like every day is a school day with me, Sam, you know, I've got to be learning something. What are your 3 for those that don't know, that's the top 10 when we used to have Top of the Pops, right? That was the theme music. So what are your 3 top doodles? And please, all the 9 million people out there, please stick in there in this private chat that's going crazy at this moment in time. In fact, it's flying off the board, Sam. Please put in there your 3 top doodles.
That's a fantastic idea.
Dare to share.
So my 3 top doodles. So if I go back to my 3 top doodles, always was an envelope. I had to do it. I had to make it so that I did the full envelope and zigzags. And this would be really kind of just switching off, zoning out. I do loads of envelopes. And I did the stars, always the stars again. They were never perfect. The points were never perfect, but I just keep doing them, Then the third one is very, very recently. So I was in a Zoom training, and I was in a Zoom training, and I was a little bit distracted, and I've normally done lots of things to do with spirals, and this one started with almost like a line, like a swirly line, and then before I knew it, I'd done from the centre all these lines, but there were nothing. Only thing that connected was the centre. And then when I finished the training and then got off later and things, and I looked at it and I thought, that is so different to my normal doodles. And actually, I'm pretty impressed and pretty proud of what I
did. You keep
created.
it?
Yes, it's in my notebook.
Good, because you
That's
must
what
keep
I was
your
going
doodles.
to share with you, but as I said, it's in a
Dare to share, but you don't have to, because obviously I work at a different level and I read your mind, and I make things a lot easier because I answer the questions before I've even asked them. But that's for another possible interview.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's got to be a
follow up. Yes, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Thinking outside the box.
Absolutely.
So I'll dare to share mine with you then. So mine are always a door, like I showed you there. Yes. A door. It's an old castle door with a wall, an old brick wall and masonry. Always, always, always. Always a tree. Always a tree. So basically, it's like you say, you know, it's how you interpret. And I would sit and draw trees and doors and trees and doors. And then the odd candle would be thrown in.
Okay.
But now I've taken to drawing carpets.
Wow, that's so different.
There you go.
But you know
just
what?
Off the
that's
scale.
Where your mind is.
It's always a magic one. To take you where? Who knows? With an intricate pattern in it, but always tasseled carpet.
I love that. So if we just kind of talk a little bit about where it all started for you, becoming a therapist, doing the integral eye
movement therapy, IMT.
Oh my goodness.
IMT, integral eye movement therapy. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that one.
Yeah, that's why I call it IMT, but nobody knows what it is. It's like GPS and all those kind of things that nobody knows what they mean. And as a dyslexic, that could get you into a lot of trouble, because I'm dyslexic, mildly dyslexic, and I can't spell or do. I have a lot of number dyslexia as well, so don't ever send me your phone number because I'll never ring you. Where did it start? It started, unfortunately, it started at the loss of my own mum, where I was in such dire straits. She died suddenly, literally in my arms. And I went out and reached out to somebody. I was in the middle of a boxing lesson. I had finished the boxing, felt top of the world, went out there, rang him up that morning, said, can't come. My mum's just died. You know, like it was total inconvenience, total block of it, total denial of it. And he said, I think you need to come and see me for something. And he was a hypnotherapist. And he gave me 3 hypnotherapy sessions that basically put me back in alignment where I could have way spiraled beyond, which I had done for 3 months post bereavement. And then I turned to him in true Neena style and went, I want to do what you do. And he went, okay, I think you'd be quite good at that. So then I went and trained with the same person, a wonderful person called Holly, who you've met.
Yes.
Phenomenal lady who taught me. So I did all the qualifications. I did the entire integral eye movement therapy, which is basically, once again, we can say whatever we want, but we have chronological synchronicity, some big long words that you can't say on a Friday morning when you've got somebody else's teeth in. But we have eye patterns that we cannot think about a certain thing and our mind movements look for something else. It's used quite, I'm trying to make it as simplistic as possible.
Yeah.
But if we interfere, and you've experienced this, it can shift, it can create new neurological paths, it can block, it can just, you go to the place and you think, okay, we don't want to keep going down the same old path. Once we've created that safe area where we can know we can retreat to when we don't feel safe, this is all internally in our subconscious mind, we're going to go for it. We're all armoured up, we've got stab vest on, we're going to go down there, I'm going to tackle it. We can go in and we can come back, we can go in and we can come back, we can go in and we think, right, and it is where it's, I've prompted children, I keep reading the word children, the kind of way I am very much let's go for this. Yeah. We don't mess about, we're straight talking, we tackle the problem head on, but first we must make sure that we are safe enough and we are confident enough to tackle that, because these are dark realms of my own mind. I've done this, and the only reason that I know I can do this is I have never ever delivered anything to somebody that I haven't in some shape or form, or maybe different, maybe it was a square not a circle, but there's that element of connection that is there, and I won't do that. Now that would make me, maybe only some people want to work with me. I can get that, because I know the people that work with me will always be at the end the best version of themselves. There's one sitting there, Sam. I'm looking at one, talking to one, which is why you said to me, oh, I didn't expect that. That was you, testing man, shot across the bow. Who do you think you are? You know who you are. We know who you are. I know who you are. We just had to suppress that, put it back to where it belongs. It's behaviour that's no longer needed. We don't need that anymore. No. But patterns and behaviour and habits, they're hard to break, but we can do it. And that's what I did. Even now I'm learning new, because I just can't get enough knowledge. But I've got to be able to implement that knowledge. I've got to then pass it on. And once again, working with Tara, we have completely different approaches to many, many things, but we have many, many similarities in many, many things. And we are both teaching each other. This morning, we started out, normally I've started a self-care plan where I'm swimming 3 times a week. We couldn't this morning, so we sat and did a meditation in this therapy room as we're sitting here. But I had to go and say to Dave, my husband, don't ask us if we want any breakfast this morning because we're doing meditation. Normally, I would have belittled that comment. But when we'd finished, she's gone off. I think she's gone to house sit or dog sit somewhere in Essex in true Tara nomadic form. I'm going to York to maybe have a gin and tonic. Don't judge me, people. Because I need one, and I don't need it. I want one. Different, Neena. Remember, you're in public.
Absolutely.
But it's those things that, it's the openness that I have struggled with. The further down we go, you think, oh, well, do I really want to? I want people to see. What you see is what you get, Sam. You know that with me. I could walk into a networking meeting where I go back and retract and say nothing. That's the me of old, which is the creativity. What's that? What you're colouring in for? Nobody wants to listen to what I don't really get. You're listening to what I'm saying. It's good enough for me. And the trillions of people on the private chat that's going crazy on the other side.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure.
And just being so open and honest, and that's what I so much love about you, Neena. You are
straight back at you. Straight back at you.
So as we kind of come to the end, a few little questions rest for you. So one of them is, I always leave that bit till the end.
It's not weight or weight size, is it? Because I'll just refuse to answer.
No, not at all. Not at all. And as you well know. So one of the questions is just because obviously we've spoken about mental health, children and young people, as therapists, how we support, you know, the importance of like looking after yourself and things as well. So what have you got, or so what would be your 3 tips?
Number 1, listen. Listen. I would add that on to listen without judgment. Just listen without judgment and encourage that person just to be them. It's okay to be, it's all right to be you. You're safe to be you. I think it's probably reassurance. If it was 3 words, it would be to listen without judgment and to reassure.
Wonderful. They are beautiful. Thank you so much. And for everybody who's listening, then absolutely. So to listen without judgment and reassure. What more do you need? Okay, so the second question.
Oh, God, I thought that were all of them. You do like your money's worth, Sam. Go on.
So the second question is, what does creativity mean to you?
Limitless possibilities.
So that's your own definition of what creativity means to you. Limitless possibilities. I absolutely love that. Wonderful. You are you are an amazing creative thinker. You've got a wonderful creative mind. You're very much stepping out of the box now. Can we agree on that one?
I've never been able to colour in the lines, Sam, so why start now?
There you go, absolutely. And as we've already said, Neena runs amazing retreats. The one in the summer, August. There are 3 tickets left, so get there.
Sam, what date is it? It's in your diary. Let's plug it.
August.
We're also doing workshops, and we also do once a month, based in Doncaster, quite close, intimate. Once again, you've been to these ones. Holistic hideaways, which are just 3.5 hours, where we look after you. We feed your mind, your body, and your soul.
Definitely. They are amazing. So yeah, for all of you out there that are wanting some real self-care, walk away from day-to-day life, then contact Neena, because she's your gal. So we are coming to the end of today's episode 4. Let's talk about creativity with Neena. Thank you so much, Neena.
My pleasure, Sam. It was a sheer delight. A sheer delight.
It's been wonderful. And as you say, watch out for part 2. So there's one last thing that you have to do with me.
Oh, go on. Go on.
As we say bye, we have to do our music. Okay, you ready to dance?
Me? Oh,
yes,
God, I'll be ready for that. Is it seat dancing? Is it chair dancing?
Yeah, chair dancing. It's just how I finish. Okay, so,
I'm ready.
So, bye everybody, and thank you for watching. See you next week with Let's Talk About Creative Writing with Fiona Green. Bye for today.
Bye. Where's the music?
That's not the right one.
Oh, sorry. Well, all the millions of people there, they're just saying for no reason. A little bit over involved there. The creativity just took hold.
I loved it. Well, maybe we should keep that one. No, this is this is the jingle.
This is the real one.
This is the real one. Ready?
Enthusiastic, Sam.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.